This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories. Jaren meets Grogu to learn the location of a Mandalorian. Crush refuses and sends his men to kill Jaren and take his armor, but Jaren kills Crush's men and interrogates him after hanging him from a light pole. Crush tells Jaren that a Mandalorian is hiding on Tatooine in the town of Mos Pelgo. After getting directions from Pelimoto, he goes to the town and meets Cobb Vanth, the marshal of the town, who now wears Boba Fett's armor. Jaren demands that Vanth returns Fett's armor, since Vanth is not a Mandalorian. Vanth refuses, and they prepare to duel until a Krayt Dragon attacks the town. Vanth makes a deal with Jaren. If he helps him kill the Krayt Dragon, he will give the armor to Jaren. Jaren agrees, and they begin their mission. They encounter Tusken Raiders, who also want to kill the Krayt Dragon, and decide to work with them. They realize they don't have enough people to kill the Krayt Dragon, and enlist the people of Mos Pelgo to join the fight. The plan is to detonate explosives into the Krayt Dragon after drawing it out, but the plan fails and Jaren leads a bantha covered in explosives into the Krayt Dragon and is swallowed alive. Jaren barely escapes the Krayt Dragon and blows it up. Vanth keeps his word and gives Fett's armor to Jaren, who leaves for his ship as Boba Fett watches him leave. As we back to the Razor Crest from the previous episode, Jaren is ambushed by raiders. He easily kills most of them, but one of them gets a knife to the child's neck. Desperate, Jaren says he'll trade his jetpack for the child, and the raider agrees, taking the jetpack. Jaren quickly changes his mind, using the jetpack's remote control to launch the raider in the air, and has falling back to the ground to his death. Returning to Mos Eisley, he meets with Pelimoto again inside the cantina, where he learns that there's an alien whose name is unknown, so we're just gonna use the name that everyone's been using, Frog Lady. Knows the location of a Mandalorian covert. Frog Lady tells Jaren that he cannot go into light speed because that would kill her eggs with her children in it, but she is returning to the planet, and if she doesn't return in time, her line would end with her, since this is her last chance to have the children. Once they arrive, she will tell him the location of the Mandalorian covert, since her husband's one who knows of it. Once they reach space, Jaren sets the ship for autopilot and goes to sleep. He's woken up by an alarm set off by some X-Wings who needed to speak with Jaren due to some technicalities and stuff that's not really important to go into. After realizing that the Razor Crest was a ship that was used to rescue Quinn back in Season 1, the X-Wings prepare for an attack, and Jaren begins to run. Trying to hide out on an unknown ice planet, Jaren tries to land the ship, but the ground is unstable and collapses under him, damaging the ship. Jaren prepares to make repairs, but before he can, he notices that Frog Lady has left and continues to follow her into a cave to a natural spring, where she is in it with her eggs to keep them warm. The child, who seems to like eating the eggs, tries to eat another one, but Jaren stops him, and the child turns around and finds a nest of spider eggs and eats one of them. This triggers the entire spider colony to begin to attack, and they are forced to retreat into the Razor Crest's cockpit. They are surrounded in the cockpit, and Jaren tries to take off, but the mother spider jumps on top, damaging the ship even more. And when they think they're done for, the New Republic X-Wings return and rescue them. Jaren confronts the X-Wing pilots, Trapper Wolf and his partner, and explain to Jaren he will not be arrested for the prison shipwreck, since he was able to capture 3 of the crew that went with him, and since he tried to rescue that New Republic prison guard during episode 6 of last season. Jaren was able to repressurize the ship, but only in the cabin, and the ship slowly moves on to the moon of Trask. Jaren, Child, and the Frog Lady land on Trask, where the Razor Crest takes more damage in a crash landing. Frog Lady reunites with her husband, who points them to an inn, where in the restaurant area of it, Jaren meets a Quarren who will take him to the Mandalorians. He gets on the Quarren ship, but soon learns
It's a trap!
the Quarren just want Beskar and feed the child into the Quarren's mother's mouth. Jaren jumps in to save them, but the Quarren trap him in, and he begins to drown, but is rescued at the last moment by Bo-Katan and two Night Owls. Jaren is outraged to learn that Bo-Katan and her troops remove their helmets, where Bo-Katan reveals that Jaren is part of a faction of the Mandalorians named the Children of the Watch, which Bo-Katan calls a group of religious zealots who broke off from Mandalorian culture. Bo-Katan tells Jaren she knows the location of a Jedi, and she will tell Jaren that if he helps her take an Imperial transport. Jaren agrees and leaves the child with the Frog Lady. They take most of the ship with ease, but the captain of the ship locks himself on the bridge and begs Moff Gideon for help. Moff Gideon refuses to help him and orders the captain to crash the ship into the ocean. Jaren, Bo-Katan, and the other Night Owls secure the bridge and return the ship to normal. Bo-Katan interrogates the Imperial captain to learn the location of the Darksaber. The Imperial captain only lets her know that she knows who has it, who we could assume is Moff Gideon, since we already know he has it from the end of episode 8. The captain kills himself because he knows that Moff Gideon would end him and his life is already over. Bo-Katan keeps her word and tells Jaren that he will find the Jedi Ahsoka Tano on the planet of Corvus. Jaren thanks Bo-Katan, picks up the child, and leaves in a poorly repaired Razor Crest to meet Ahsoka. Jaren and the child fail to repair the Razor Crest and land on Navarro to get repairs. They meet up once again with Cara Dune and Greef Karga, with Cara now being the marshal of the town. After dropping off the child at a local school that was in the cantina that they were trapped in episode 8, Jaren agrees to help Cara and Karga take out the last Imperial base on the planet, and they are aided by the Mithril that was captured by Jaren back in Chapter 1. They successfully overload the base's reactor and begin to escape, but come to a lab where they see many strange bodies floating in liquid. They search through to figure out what they're doing and learn that Moff Gideon is still alive. Fearing for the child, Jaren rushes back to the town to save the child, and Karga, Kara, and the Mithril escape in a transport. They are chased down by speeder bikes, which they easily dispatch, but then a few TIE fighters begin to follow them. Their transport is nearly destroyed by the TIE fighters, but Jaren is there to save them at the last minute in the repaired Razor Crest. Karga thanks Jaren, and he leaves to meet Ahsoka. The New Republic arrive to investigate the recently destroyed Imperial base, where they question Karga about the Razor Crest being there, where Karga denies it ever came, and soon the pilot offers Cara Dune a job back at the New Republic, but she refuses. We finally learn that Moff Gideon had one of the aliens that was repairing the Razor Crest put a tracker on it so we can follow them to get the child, and he looks on to a wall of suits that likely belong to Dark Troopers from Legends. Ahsoka Tano threatens Morgan Elsbeth, the magistrate of Keldon, to give her information that she needs and to free the village that she has taken over, and she has a day to decide where she will return. Jaren lands on Trask and goes to Keldon, where Magistrate Elsbeth wants to hire Jon to kill Ahsoka for a Beskar staff. Jon gives her the impression that he is going to kill Ahsoka and leaves to find her. He confronts her in the woods, where they fight for a minute, but Jon is quickly able to explain why he's here and shows Ahsoka the child. Ahsoka and the child communicate through the Force, where it is revealed that his name is Grogu, and he was originally trained at the Jedi Temple before he was hidden away by an unknown person after Order 66 and the Rise of the Empire. After a brief training session, Ahsoka tells Jon she cannot train Grogu because of his deep emotional connection to Jaren. This is because she knows that emotional attachments could even ruin the best of the Jedi. Jaren tries to cut a deal with Ahsoka. He will help her free the town in exchange for her training Grogu. Ahsoka then enters the town and makes it seem like she's killed Jaren, and she finally asks one last time for this to end peacefully. Elsbeth refuses, and the battle begins. Ahsoka takes on most of her men, while Jaren rescues captive villagers. Ahsoka goes after Elsbeth, and Ahsoka and Elsbeth duel as Jaren stands off with her second-in-command, who Jaren easily kills. Ahsoka defeats Elsbeth and demands to know the location of Grand Admiral Thrawn. With this town now free, Jaren tries one last time to get Ahsoka to train Grogu. Ahsoka still refuses, and sends him to Tython, where the child will be able to choose his own path after going to a temple, where he could call out on the Force, and a Jedi may answer. Jaren and Grogu land on Tython, where they immediately go to the Seeing Stone. Jaren places Grogu on the Seeing Stone, but quickly sees a ship landing on the planet. Scared, Jaren goes to get Grogu, but he's already begun to connect with the temple and has created a force bubble protecting him that no one can get through. Jaren goes down the hill and confronts the pilot of the ship, Boba Fett, and Fennec Shand, who Fett saved after the events of Chapter 5 last season. Worried that Fett is after Grogu, Jaren asks what Fett is after, if he's a Jedi or is hunting down Grogu. Fett responds that he's after neither, and just wants his armor returned to him. In exchange for it, he will help Jaren protect Grogu. Forced in a standoff, Jaren takes off his jetpack, and both Fett and Shand drop their weapons. Before they could agree on anything, Imperial transports come in to try to steal Grogu. They deploy stormtroopers that Fett and Shand deal with as Jaren goes to retrieve Grogu before he's captured, but is still protected by the Force Bubble, and Jaren is thrown back and temporarily knocked unconscious. After he wakes up, Jaren goes back down the hill and helps Shand as Fett goes to retrieve his armor. Jaren and Shand are backed into a corner where they are quickly saved by Boba Fett, who is now in his full armor. Fett is able to scare off the rest of the stormtroopers, who retreat to their ship, taking off. Boba Fett will not let them escape, uses his missile to blow the ship out of the sky, crashing it into the second one. Victory was not that easy though, as Moff Gideon's starship comes out of space, fires on the Razor Crest, and destroys it. Gideon deploys his Dark Troopers, who take Grogu, who is now tired from communicating through the Force, and has finally dropped the Force bubble protecting him. Jaren is just a little bit too late, and Fett chases down the Dark Troopers in Slave 1, but cannot engage them because he doesn't want to hurt Grogu. Fett follows him until they reach Gideon's ship, where Fett realizes the Empire isn't fully gone. He returns to Tython, knowing that he cannot take on the starship by himself, and goes to Jaren to thank him for returning his father's armor, and confirms his father, Jango Fett, was a Mandalorian foundling. Fett tells him since the armor was returned to him, he will keep on his word and help Jaren rescue the child from Moff Gideon and the Empire. Jaren looks through the wreckage of the Razor Crest, where he's only able to find the ball knob that Grogu loves, and the Beskar spear that I got from Ahsoka last episode, which I forgot to mention in that episode. They quickly go to Navarro, so Jaren can ask Cara Dune where Mayfeld, one of the members of the crew from Chapter 6, The Prisoner, is, so he could get his help in rescuing Grogu. Kara's answer is unknown, but it's likely that she will help Djarin rescue Grogu in the finale. Finally, in this episode, we see Moff Gideon taunting Grogu with the Darksaber, and then stunning him and putting him in handcuffs, as he has Dr. Pershing contacted to let him know that they have the donor. Mayfeld is freed from prison by Cara Dune, where he joins the crew. Mayfeld is asked to find the location of Moff Gideon, where he leads a group to Morak, where an old Imperial base is. To infiltrate the base, Djarin is forced to wear Imperial armor and enters a juggernaut transporting Rhydonium. On his way to the base, the transport is attacked by pirates that want to blow up the Rhydonium that would also blow up the transport. Djarin is able to fight off most of them and is eventually rescued by the Imperials, who still think he's a transport pilot. Entering the base, they go to find the terminal. Mayfeld recognizes his old commander, Valen Hess, and doesn't want to go in since he's afraid he will be recognized, and Djarin is forced to continue on. Djarin goes to the terminal, where he must make a decision to either follow the Mandalorian code or rescue Grogu, since the terminal requires a face scan. Djarin quickly makes his decision and removes his helmet, showing his face for the first time with living people around since he was a kid. Before he could leave, Djarin is confronted by Hess, who wants to know everything about Djarin and what his operating number is. Djarin doesn't know what to say and is saved by Mayfeld, who makes up a lie about him. Vess does not remember Mayfeld and continues on to take them to get a drink for being the only successful pilots to return. During the drink, both Mayfeld and Hess talk about the Empire and its different strategies and methods throughout the war. Getting a little irritated with Hess, Mayfeld pulls out a blaster, shoots him, kills him, and the two are forced to escape. Before they leave, Mayfeld tells Djarin that he did not see him without his mask on, as Djarin puts the helmet back on, and Cara Dune and Fennec Shand cover their escape as they get into the Slave One. With a single shot of a sniper rifle, Mayfeld is able to blow up the entire Imperial base by hitting a Rhydonium canister. They enter into Slave One, which is followed by two TIE fighters that Boba Fett easily destroys with a seismic charge. After they landed to pick up Cara and Fennec, Djarin goes to Cara and Mayfeld, where Cara explains how it's a real shame that Mayfeld died in the base explosion. Mayfeld thanks them and goes on his way, and the rest of the crew continues on to go save Grogu. Finally, Djarin contacts Moff Gideon. Djarin gives the same speech that Moff Gideon gave last season, promising that he will get the child back. The crew take an Imperial shuttle to capture Dr. Pershing. Once they board the shuttle, he is taken hostage by one of the pilots. Cara saves him, and the crew continue on to recruit Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan and Kuska Reeves get into an intense fight with Boba Fett before it is broken up, and Bo-Katan does agree to help because she wants to reclaim the Darksaber. Using a fake attack from Slave One as cover, the Imperial ship lands in the hangar. Djarin goes to disable the Dark Troopers and rescue Grogu, as the rest of the crew goes to take the bridge. The crew is successful at taking the bridge, but for Djarin, things aren't as easy. He runs into a single Dark Trooper that manages to escape from the room before Djarin can close the door. Djarin struggles to fight this trooper and is eventually able to destroy it by shoving the Beskar spear into the neck of the droid. Djarin ejects the rest into space and goes to Grogu's cell, where he finds Moff Gideon waiting for him with the Darksaber ignited over Grogu. Gideon tells him to drop the blaster, and they begin to talk. Gideon explains that he's got everything he needs from Grogu, since he only needed his blood to study, and if Djarin takes him and leaves, all will be good. Djarin believes this and goes to grab Grogu, where Gideon attacks him from behind. Gideon and Djarin get into a fight, with Djarin using the spear and Gideon using the darksaber. Djarin is eventually able to overcome Gideon and defeat him, and claims the darksaber from him. Djarin now enters the bridge with Grogu. Gideon is a prisoner, and the darksaber in his hand. Bo-Katan looks furious, and Moff Gideon is able to joyfully explain that now if Bo-Katan wants the darksaber, she must fight Din Djarin for it by ancient Mandalorian tradition. Djarin insists on giving the darksaber back to Bo-Katan, but she refuses because she knows it would be against tradition and she would not be seen as a true leader of the Mandalorians. Before anything can happen, the Dark Troopers return and quickly retake the ship. They try to enter the bridge, and they all know that they are doomed until a single X-Wing lands. Thinking nothing of it, they continue to fear for their lives until they see that a Jedi is aboard the X-Wing. As the Jedi easily dispatches the Dark Troopers, Gideon is terrified and tries to take out as many people as possible, but the Mandalorians are all able to block it with their Beskar. Knowing he's lost, Gideon tries to kill himself so they could get no information from him, but Cara Dune is able to take him down before that could happen. The Jedi is finished clearing out the rest of the Dark Troopers and enters the bridge. We learn that the Jedi is actually Luke Skywalker, who explains to Djarin that he is here to train Grogu, but Grogu wants Djarin's permission first to be able to leave with Luke. Djarin does give Grogu his permission, promising that he will see him again one day, and finally removes his mask so they can see each other face to face before they depart. Grogu leaves once R2-D2 arrives. Djarin now watches on in tears as Luke and R2 leave with Grogu. We now skip ahead a little bit in the future, where Boba Fett and Fennec Shand are retaking Jabba's palace from Bib Fortuna. They kill him, and Boba Fett presumably takes Fortuna's former title that he took from Jabba as the king of the underworld. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories, and may the Force be with you.